Napoleon Bonaparte's campaign in Egypt, 1798 to 1801, was a key moment in both French and Egyptian history, as it marked Napoleon's attempt to establish French control over Egypt, then under the Ottoman Empire, to extend French influence in the Eastern Mediterranean and threaten British interests in India. The campaign was both military and scientific, leaving a profound impact on Egypt and laying the groundwork for modern Western scholarship on the region. In May 1798, Napoleon assembled an army of about 40,000 soldiers and set sail from Toulon. His fleet, carrying a mix of infantry, cavalry, and artillery, along with scholars and scientists, aimed to conquer Egypt, which Napoleon viewed as a strategic point for extending French influence into the Middle East and weakening Britain's hold on India. The British Navy, under Admiral Horatio Nelson, was a formidable adversary for the French, and control over Egypt would not only provide France with a valuable colony, but also pose a direct threat to British interests in the region. Napoleon's fleet successfully arrived in Egypt in early July 1798, landing near Alexandria. One of the first major engagements was the Battle of the Pyramids on July 21st, where Napoleon's army decisively defeated the Mamluk forces, who were the de facto rulers of Egypt. Napoleon employed a tactical formation known as the Square to counter the Mamluks' cavalry charges. The battle was a clear victory for the French and allowed them to gain control over Cairo, marking the initial phase of French occupation in Egypt. While Napoleon achieved quick military successes, he also initiated significant cultural and scientific endeavors. He brought with him over 150 scientists, engineers, and scholars to study Egypt's ancient monuments, flora, fauna, and people. This was the start of what is known as Egyptology, the study of ancient Egyptian history and artifacts. The most famous discovery from this scientific expedition was the Rosetta Stone, which would later enable scholars to decipher ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs. However, Napoleon's occupation was met with resistance from both the local population and foreign powers. The British, alarmed by the French presence in Egypt, were determined to stop Napoleon's ambitions. On August 1st, 1798, Admiral Nelson found the French fleet anchored in Abu Qir Bay, leading to the decisive Battle of the Nile. In this naval engagement, Nelson destroyed most of the French fleet, effectively cutting off Napoleon's army from France. This defeat significantly weakened French control in Egypt and shifted the strategic balance in favor of Britain. Despite the loss of the French fleet, Napoleon remained in Egypt and attempted to consolidate French rule. He engaged in several military campaigns to suppress revolts in Egypt and extended his ambitions by launching an invasion into Ottoman-held Syria in early 1799. However, this campaign was largely unsuccessful. Napoleon's forces faced stiff resistance, supply shortages, and outbreaks of disease, particularly during the Siege of Acre, which ended in a failed attempt to capture the city. By August 1799, with the situation in France deteriorating and political instability back home, Napoleon decided to abandon his army in Egypt and return to France. He secretly left Egypt and sailed back to Europe, leaving General Jean-Baptiste Kleber in charge. Kleber managed to hold off the Ottomans for a time, but was assassinated in 1800.